Welcome to Soundtrack Your Life, a podcast about soundtracks, music, and movies. Each episode features a guest and focuses on a specific soundtrack and the personal stories connected to it. Now here's your host, Ryan Pack.
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Soundtrack Your Life. This is the podcast where we talk about movies and music and our personal connections to the films. Today we have some very special guests. This is my first international podcast collaboration. So today we have Lily and Hannah from Society Owes Me a Gen X podcast, which you can find on Spotify and Apple Music. Today we are going to talk about the 1995 Alan Moyle film Empire Records. Lily and Hannah, welcome to Soundtrack Your Life. And why are we talking about Empire Records today?
Thanks for having us, Ryan.
Yeah, hi, Ryan. Well, we both love the movie. We've watched it hundreds of times between us, probably.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty Gen X too.
Very Gen X. Yeah, we're excited. This is our first international collaboration, and in fact, collaboration of any kind.
So stateside, it was a pretty big box office bomb. How did it do over in the UK?
I don't think it made it to any movie theaters. I think that's right.
Yeah, no, I watched it on video.
It was a straight to video job. Yeah.
Video, not DVD, video.
Yeah, exactly. VHS.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it till it was on cable.
Yeah, I actually bought an ex-rental copy as a student because I was too poor to buy a new one, and it came in like the enormous box that you used to be able to get, from Blockbuster, that they used to put right at the front.
With the plastic covers, yeah.
Yeah, very thick plastic cover on it.
So the soundtrack did really well. I assume that the soundtrack was important to you guys?
Definitely. I stole it from my brother. He bought it. I guess he had more money than me at the time, but yeah, we basically steal it from each other's rooms continually.
Yeah, we both had little brothers who stole our stuff.
Yeah,
you stole his.
I did.
Case.
Yeah, I got my own
Refreshing.
back on this one.
I remember being really surprised that the film did so poorly out here because the soundtrack, I feel like, was everywhere when it first came out. That Gin Blossom song, I think, reached number 9 on the singles chart out here. That Edwyn Collins song blew up over here as well. What are some of the highlights for you guys with the soundtrack?
Well, yeah, I think it was Variety that called the movie a soundtrack in search of a movie, which is probably fair. It was very front-loaded with the music.
Yeah, the movie, when you think about it, is a bit all over the place, isn't it? I think, yeah,
it's enjoyable
back,
nonsense.
Yeah. It's not got the strongest storyline, shall we say?
No.
Or character development.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any means, but I think that it, I don't think it deserves the reputation of being like this terrible film that nobody watched.
No, it's fun. It's hitting some pretty hard topics, and doing it in a kind of a kind of an easy breezy way to get in and out of it without being flippant, but still kind of going there, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's totally made up for bombing. It's become a cult classic. I think it's fair to say it's an absolute cult classic. And, rewatching it recently, you look back on it with affection, like,
totally.
The whole thing. It's really nostalgic. And also the actors in it as well. Like you got, Renee Zellweger, they've gone on to do some much bigger things, and they were all pretty much unknowns then, weren't they?
Yeah, and the big old 90s fashion.
Oh,
and
yes.
Subcategories of, your music nerds and your, what's a nice way to say, the easy girl and the good girl and the art guy and the weird dude and,
the rock guys and the punk guys and the goth girls.
Every girl has a miniskirt and a midriff.
All the 90s stereotypes are there in one record shop.
Every
one
guy,
big happy family.
Every guy has one of those deep V t-shirts.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, I believe Renee Zellweger is referred to as a turbo slut in the film.
Yeah, that's right. I was trying to be all PC about it.
I think it's funny that this record store has Liv Tyler's character, who's like the valedictorian, who's going to Harvard but also works in a record store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you know, there are 24 usable hours in every day. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's a sloppy movie. It's a goofy movie. I've never met anyone at a record store that wears a turtleneck like Lucas does.
Yeah, he is a bit of a wild card throughout the whole thing. And what happened to that guy?
I think he was all. So I'm actually going to do an episode in a couple of weeks on Dazed and Confused, and he's actually in that film too.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
He's barely recognizable, isn't he? Because he's got the, like, long hair and the backwards cap and whatnot.
And he actually quotes a bit of Dazed and Confused, does he? Or he mentions it. There's a bit of a nod to the film. Isn't there also a sticker? Like,
oh,
by the
yeah, maybe
tail
a
or
sticker. Yeah, that sounds
something?
right.
Yeah. He says, "Have a nice days" or something like that, I think, at some point.
Yeah, apparently he was going out with Renee Zellweger, or they were living
Oh, was
together or
he?
something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I read that.
Like there's a whole life of Renee Zellweger before Jerry Maguire that like I don't understand.
Yeah, I think she was very briefly in the beginning of Reality Bites as well, which is another fave of ours, isn't it?
Far cry from Bridget Jones and the big pants.
I nearly deleted that from my mind. I was nearly a distant
Welcome
memory.
back.
Yeah, I feel like she went from like this movie to being like a proper adult like really quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. I think
fair.
Jerry Maguire probably did that for her. She was quite the straight man in that one.
Because now if you're like, hey, there's this movie where Renee Zellweger was a turbo slut, everyone would like no one would believe you.
But yeah, here we are. We haven't even talked about any of the music. I mean, I hadn't heard the Gin Blossoms before this soundtrack came into my life, definitely.
I read that like the Gin Blossoms was a major piece of the puzzle for the soundtrack. Like the soundtrack was supposed to come on some other label, but they really wanted the Gin Blossoms on the soundtrack, so then it got shifted to their label. Like I didn't realize they had that much sway back in like the mid 90s.
Yeah. There's some sad history there as well with this track, right?
I think there's just a sad history with that band in general.
Right.
You know, I think they had to basically kick out a guy in the band who wrote most of the first album songs. And he, I think, committed suicide while that album came out.
Yeah. Doug Hopkins, I think.
Yeah. So, you know, this is like kind of pre-internet. So like you only hear like whispers about this stuff. And I kind of feel bad for them because it's this, you know, this rain cloud that kind of hovers over them whenever you talk about their music.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I read that a documentarian had bought the rights to his music and his story for a biopic that was maybe going to star Ethan Hawke.
Oh, wow.
But it never really panned out for one reason or another.
Oh, shame. And been a good movie. So you're a big Gin Blossoms fan then, Ryan?
Yeah, I really liked that first album that they did. And then this song, I still really like. I think I read like a music writer on Twitter, like being really snarky about it. Like, oh, this is my favorite song that you randomly hear at like a Walgreens or a CVS. And I was like, it's just a good song. Like, I think it's a very solid song.
Yeah, I've got in my notes that Billboard said it was the closest thing to a perfect pop song to hit radio in recent memory. And Jesse Venezuela himself said that it was just saccharine enough. Which I think is fair. But yeah, the ones I was never a massive Gin Blossoms fan. I like them. They kind of remind me of who's the band that does the Friends theme tune? The Rembrandts. They kind of remind me of them. And who's the band that does? Do you remember that awful 90s British sitcom Game On?
No.
We talked about this the other day. Anyway, there's three bands that I kind of get mixed up, but they're the Gin Blossoms, Rembrandts, and that other Game On band. Anyway, but yeah, the song that I did really like, that I remember buying at my local record store, Capitol Records on Marlow High Street. It had like a 50p bargain bucket, and I had Hey Jealousy, the single, which I think was off. Was that off New Miserable Experience? Was that the first?
That's
album?
like the big hit off that album.
I loved that. But I think that was a lot earlier, wasn't it? Yeah.
So there was this album, this tribute album that came out called Big Star Small World, and it was a bunch of covers of Big Star songs, and the Gin Blossoms were on there, and it kind of helped me connect why I like the Gin Blossoms, because I'm a big fan of Big Star, and there's a lot of great bands on that soundtrack, that compilation, I mean.
And Big Star are the original purveyors of the Ballad of El Goodo.
Yeah, Van Dando one.
that right?
Yeah.
Evan Dando featuring Liv Tyler.
Yeah, that's right. She did backing vocals on that, didn't she?
And I feel like a lot of the bands on the soundtrack, at least some of the popular bands, I feel like they kind of fit in that, power pop inspired by Big Star sort of category. I think Better Than Ezra and Toad the Wet Sprocket kind of fit in there as well.
Yeah, Toad the Wet Sprocket was a band that didn't really make it over here at all. The only reason I knew who they were because I had MTV and they played, is it Walk on the Ocean? They played that quite a lot and it's a beautiful song.
I don't know. They were never really on my radar, to be honest. My husband really likes them, but
He's American.
I find him a bit insipid. Sorry.
I think they're a great band. He wanted me to mention that he met Glenn Phillips after a gig once at the bar with his manager. He's very starstruck.
You can mention that, just not his name.
Yeah, that's right. But I didn't know that they had their name from a Monty Python skit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and apparently it was like a spoof, dumb band name that literally no one would ever use. It was that ridiculous.
Oh, it is
that
true.
That was the idea. And then he was on the LA Freeway or something. Eric Idle was one of Monty Python, and he heard their song on the radio, and he heard Toad the Wet Sprocket, and he was like, he had to pull over.
I'm not surprised. It's a terrible name for a band.
It's an amazing way to find out, though.
Right.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Your baby has given birth. You didn't even know.
But it doesn't they sound nothing like someone who would watch Monty Python. The music doesn't. Just
there's
doesn't
the beauty.
fit. It just don't get
It's
it.
they're a very serious and sappy band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fits with the stuff my husband likes. But yeah, he was telling me that Crazy Life is about a big standoff and the murder of some FBI agents, which was definitely not something
Leonard
on our radar.
Peltier and the 1975 Pine Ridge shootout. I've got
Wow. I had no idea that Toad the Wet Sprocket had that depth.
Yeah, well, you were right when you said they're serious. I mean, there's no fun and games there.
Yeah, I was looking into that and then went down a bit of a rabbit hole and found out about other, the Indigo. Do you like the Indigo Girls? I loved them for a period. And I've got here that they covered Buffy Samarie's Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee on their 1995 live album, 1200 Curfews. And U2's Native Song was reworked in Vertigo on how to dismantle an atomic bomb. And Rage Against the Machine's Freedom, the 1994 video, ended with Peltier in prison. Loads of music that's been inspired by Leonard Peltier, including Crazy Life by Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Right, and
So there you go.
We didn't hear about any of it, did we? We're so deprived in the UK,
Yeah, because when I hear Rage Against the Machine, I immediately think, oh yeah, that man Toad the Wet Sprocket write about the same things.
Yeah.
Fair. And yet.
Oh, and apparently Malcolm McLaren's last words were reportedly free Leonard Peltier.
Wow.
Nice.
So there you go.
Sure, that warmed the cockles of Leonard's heart.
But yeah, going back to Big Star again, they were never really on my radar, but find it interesting that the same song was also covered by Vanessa Paradis and Counting Crows. The Ballad of El Gordo, that is.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I know they did that terrible Joni Mitchell cover.
Oh, yeah, that was painful. But then I'm a big Joni Mitchell fan, so you can't do that right in my eye.
What else have you got, Ryan?
So let's talk about Edwyn Collins.
Okay, a girl like you.
Yeah, that song was huge over here, and I had no idea who Edwyn Collins was, and it doesn't feel like it's a song written in the 90s.
It was massive here as well. It was number 4 in the UK. I remember it coming out, but I remember it. It reminds me a lot of Nick Cave, and specifically Nick Cave's Red Right Hand. Can you hear that at all? I always associate the two.
Baritone voice, I suppose.
Maybe it's that. I don't know.
He's so he's a Scot, and he was the lead singer, I think, of Scottish band Orange Juice.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, I think I heard that, and I had no idea who Orange Juice was.
Yeah, it's that track, Rip It Up. It was very early 80s.
Go on, sing
It's
it.
really good. I'm not singing. Nobody wants to hear that.
It is a good track as well, but it's the only Orange Juice song I know.
Yeah, it's kind of new wavy,
Yeah.
jangle pop type thing. In fact, I would describe the soundtrack very much as jingle jangle pop.
Gin Blossoms, definitely jangle pop.
There's a lot. Like there's somebody's
Liar,
taste.
Cranberries, not so much.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Let's talk about the Cranberries, because the Cranberries were pretty huge everywhere, I think.
Hang on though, before we talk about Cranberries, I just
sorry.
mention Edwyn Collins. Apparently, Paul Cooker from the Sex Pistols, the drummer out of the Sex Pistols, plays vibraphone on that track.
Oh, really?
There you go.
What, a girl like you?
Yeah.
And I read that Iggy Pop was planning to cover it at some point, but then he ended up nixing the idea at the last minute.
Yeah, I've got a note here about Iggy Pop. I've got Iggy Pop Tribute, and it became his biggest solo hit. Is a girl like you an Iggy Pop tribute? I don't know.
I don't know.
I need to research that better.
It was kind of fitting into that weird 50s revival thing that was happening in the 90s, with the kind of poodle skirts and
he had the quiff as well, didn't he?
big quiff and the brothel creepers and the long Elvis kind of jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely that look.
Yeah, people were doing, you know what? It was Swingers, wasn't it, as well? Swingers came out.
Yeah.
Was it the same year or the year before? Maybe it was 94.
No, it's around that time.
And then just everyone was taking swing dancing lessons, and the whole 50s thing was happening.
Yeah, that was a very dark time in America.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was his biggest hit though, wasn't it? Like, I don't remember any other Edwyn Collins.
I think it's a one and done situation.
Spring to mind, no.
With Edwyn. But, you know, he's been around a long time. I heard that that punk band Wire produced one of Orange Juice's albums.
Oh, really?
So wow.
Cool. But yeah, the Cranberries, wow, I loved them for a good while. But Liar, I don't know, I find that an interesting choice for the soundtrack. I don't really know a lot about the song, what it's about. It's when Deborah's handing out the badges, isn't she? She's made her homemade badges and she's handing them all out to the staff, which is quite cute.
And this is before Zombie, right? So this is before the Cranberries got like super huge.
Yeah. But it's there's another Cranberries song on the in the film that's not on the album. How? Do you remember that one?
No, I don't. I have to admit, I'm not a big Cranberries fan at all.
I wouldn't say I am now, but there was a period where I loved, you know, Linger, Zombie, Dreams, Salvation, like the big ones. But
yeah, I haven't heard of half of those.
You must have heard Zombie.
No, I did.
Yeah.
Did I? I didn't. It still haunts my dreams, I think. You know, they definitely overplayed the Cranberries to the point of I cannot bear, honestly.
You know, before Zombie came out, I thought I kind of felt like the Cranberries were kind of a jingle jangle pop band with like Linger and Dreams.
Yeah.
Like for me, Zombie was like a huge like departure from what I knew of the Cranberries.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, much darker.
Because I was like, oh, they're the kind of like this easy listening pop band, and then all of a sudden she's, you know.
Love it. Easy listening punk band. Yeah.
She's bursting your eardrums.
Yeah, like that. And that video is like super intense. Like she's like painted in gold and she's just like wailing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they
that is how I think of her, actually. It's just wailing. I mean, R.I.P. Dolores. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever.
But yeah, they were the cause of a riot in 1995. Oh yeah, so when did Empire Records come out? Was it 95 or 96?
95.
Anyway, okay. So yeah, there was they put on a free concert, I think in conjunction with a local Washington DC radio station somewhere in Washington, and the organizers had organized 5 police officers to be there just for security, and then 10,000 people showed up. So there was stage diving like way before it started. Wow. And then the Cranberries came on and they managed to play 1.5 songs, and they had to stop it because it was just chaos. And Patty Dolores's guitar was stolen. Yeah, and I don't really think of the Cranberries as being a band that would, you know, cause riots really, but there you go.
No, that is a surprise.
Well, and fun fact, you know, they sort of disappeared for a bit, didn't they? And they came back, and in their sort of second incarnation, wrong word, I think it was still the same band members, but they were then managed by Danny Goldberg, who was Nirvana and Kurt Cobain's manager.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow, I had no idea.
So yeah, I picked up on something running through this soundtrack, which is something that we accidentally or managed to wade into in a horrible sense is horrible deaths and suicides. And at first we were saying, gosh, are we turning into the kind of deceased people podcast, but it's like, 30 years. So I don't think we should be that shocked that, people, they come and go. But obviously Dolores passed away at 46.
In a bath in a London hotel.
The Gin Blossoms original frontman shot himself, I believe. I think he was an alcoholic as well. There's an AC/DC track, which is one of my favorites of theirs, actually. It's not on the soundtrack, unfortunately. If You Want Blood. Are you into that one, Ryan?
Yeah, that's a really fun scene in the movie too.
Yeah.
Like it's the only scene in the film where Lucas looks like he enjoys music.
Yeah. Yeah. Before then, he just looks like a Cranberries fan.
Confined to the sofa.
Right.
Forever listening to Zombie.
Yeah. So I think the original AC/DC singer, Bon Scott, I think he aspirated his own vomit.
Oh,
he was
my
an alcoholic.
God.
Then you've got that Jimi Hendrix track, which isn't Jimi Hendrix. I think it's the Dirt Clods, but it's a pretty close rip-off, actually. But obviously, Jimmy. Also, I think it was aspirated his vomit and also Bob Itchwitz.
Well, thanks for this, Lily. You got some more.
All right. Just keeping it light.
Well, where do we go?
You're welcome.
We can go to talking about Liv Tyler being in a movie with her stepdad.
Oh, how weird is that?
Yeah, that's super creepy. I heard that the director and the producers didn't know that.
Oh, really?
At the time, and they found out latterly, which is, yeah, he's a character. Oh, Coyote Shivers.
Yeah, I really feel for him as well. 'Cause I think, like, he's got some cool work, but he's kind of never really gone anywhere, has he?
I think he's ended up in jail a few times.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he's been done for stalking his exes.
Oh,
quite
not
prolifically.
cool. Including Liv Tyler's mum?
I don't know about that.
I've forgotten her name. It's Bevy something, isn't it?
BB Buell.
BB Buell.
Yeah, I was reading about BB Buell, and apparently she was with Todd Rundgren at the time. And Steven Tyler got her pregnant.
Yeah.
And then she didn't want Steven Tyler to know that he had a kid because he was such a bad drug addict at the time. So she hid Liv Tyler from him for like 9 years.
Yeah. I think she was. I think as well, Todd Rundgren may have been under the impression that it was his kid.
Yeah, I think they broke up like a year after Liv Tyler was born. And I assume it's because he found out it wasn't his.
Yeah, because the baby came out like a mini Steven Tyler. Sadly, there was no denying the parentage on that kid.
Did you guys enjoy Renee Zellweger's arc in the movie where she goes from Turbo Slut to I just want to sing in a band?
Yeah, that jumped out at you, didn't it?
She's amazing, I think, there on the roof, just singing her little heart out.
She's a great singer.
And then she's like, oh, but she doesn't know it, does she? And then she's like, oh, I can sing. And then she carries on.
Well, no, I think they know that she can sing, but she's too shy.
Yeah. But it's like she surprises herself. It's cute. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently Coyote Shivers thought it was really lame that they changed the words.
Oh, I didn't realize they had changed the words.
For her bit, yeah.
Oh.
His is a bit raunchier.
Okay.
Well, he should be happy they included his music on the soundtrack since apparently he's only there because he's Liv Tyler's stepdad.
Yeah, he really rails against that and says that's absolutely not true. And he got the job completely independently because they loved his song Sugar High and because it was so great. But I think that might be just the kind of guy he is, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, no one wants to admit that they got the part through nepotism.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty big coincidence. I'll say that. Leave it there.
You know, when he first shows up on screen, my first thought was, hey, that guy should be Jughead in the Archies.
Yeah, he's a very strange looking guy, isn't he?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's really odd.
Because the hair kind of looks like someone playing the role of a metally rocker guy. Yeah, definitely. I know what you mean.
Like the name Coyote Shivers like fits him.
Absolutely.
Is it his name or is it a stage name?
It's something Shivers, isn't it? Francis?
Yeah, I think it's Francis.
Okay.
You can see why I changed it.
Yeah, I mean, the stage name thing makes sense there.
And he's not cool enough to be Black Francis.
Yeah, there's another family affair, isn't there, with Ethan Embry? He's got his brother and sister both in the film.
Does he? I didn't know that.
So his brother is in a mosh pit scene, and his sister is one of the, like, she asked for an autograph.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know why
Sounds
he
like
changed his name? Because that was super confusing.
Oh, wasn't it in tribute to, like, his granddad or something, I think?
It's really unusual, though, for a working actor
Yeah.
to have been in, because wasn't he in She's All That? Like,
Under
as
his old name. What was he originally?
Ethan Randall, I think.
Ethan Randall, that's it.
And then to just change it kind of.
yeah, I mean, it
like,
doesn't
you're getting
sound like
work.
it sounds like sweet, like I think he did it for sweet reasons. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it doesn't seem particularly sort of savvy career-wise. I don't know. I mean, it's cool sounding name.
It's kind of catchy, Ethan Embry.
Definitely.
It's a lot
Yeah,
more
it's-
catchy than Ethan Randall.
Yeah, it's just that he'd already kind of made his name.
I feel like the Coppolas do it all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
true.
And the elephant, the purple crushed velvet elephant in the room that we haven't mentioned yet. It is a crime that there is no Rex Manning on this soundtrack.
Yeah,
I know. And the fact that there's no information about who wrote that song. I'd really love to know who wrote that song for
God, yeah, that's
Rex Manning.
Yeah, I mean, what just an absolutely perfect comedy character. And he does it so well.
Yeah, he's very good.
Maxwell Caulfield, I don't know if you remember him. He was in the UK, we called it Dynasty. I think you call it Dynasty.
My dad used to call it dysentery.
Oh.
My mum loved it. That and Dallas.
I loved it. He was my favorite.
You watched it. It was on too late. It was at 9 o'clock. I was in bed by then. But of course you are. You are right.
I'm a fraction older than you. And it was my special treat. My little brother was asleep. I was allowed to sneak downstairs and watch it.
That's it. EastEnders was my treat. I'd get to stay up for that.
I love the fact that they just needed like a 30-second clip for that music video, but like they just had too much fun, so they just made a whole music video for that Rex Manning
it's
song.
amazing, isn't it?
And the scary thing is, it looks 100% like something you would have seen on VH1. You know,
Right.
or maybe the Country Channel. To be fair, and I love country music. I am not dissing country music, but the outfits are more country. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Unless you're Prince, you can't really rock a blouse like that. As like an
It's a very strong influence on Rex Manning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a Rextravaganza every year on Rex Manning Day, which is apparently
April
the day
8th?
Kurt Cobain died.
Oh,
She was a big fan, so she wrote it in that Rex Manning Day would be Kurt Cobain's.
that was deliberate. Oh,
Yes,
right.
it was. Yeah.
there you go with your rock and roll deaths again. Thanks, Lily.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So there's a Rextravaganza every year, and apparently this year they did it when a bunch of the actors all got on and were doing like an unofficial viewing party, basically. And they got on to a Zoom thing, and they were a whole bunch of them were there and stuff. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, they're into it. It's nice.
Is it like the Ridgemont High? They did like a sort of V3 thing.
I don't know if they did that. They should definitely.
They
do that.
should. Yeah. What was it?
20?
20? Well, can't do the maths.
Yeah, it's 25 years.
25. Yeah. Last year was it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah,
a
big one.
extra big celebration. And the lady who wrote it, I want to say Carol Heikkinen. I recently found out that she also wrote a thing called Love with River Phoenix from '93. If you've seen that, love that movie. She's amazing.
Hey, pretty good to go from working at Tower Records to writing a couple screenplays, right?
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
and she worked at Tower, and she based a whole bunch of characters, didn't she? Apparently, they're making a musical.
I heard that, but it was supposed to be released this year. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, I doubt that's happened. But yeah, I wonder where that's gone because it was announced a couple of years ago. Yeah, that would be awesome. Ooh, day trip.
Would it?
Yeah, I think I'd see it. I'd
Really?
definitely go and see it.
Oh, musicals aren't really my thing.
No,
No.
even an Empire Records musical.
I literally can't think of any musical that I like.
Oh, Lily.
Sorry. I just admitted to liking country music, though. Is that enough for you?
I don't like country music.
Do you like musicals? How do you feel about musicals, Ryan? How do you feel about Empire Records musical?
I mean, I'd be interested in singing as long as they keep the Gin Blossom song and the Big Star song in there.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Like, I'm not the biggest musical fan. I like, some of the classics, like Sound of Music, Singing in the Rain. So I don't know. I mean, I think if it had, I don't know. I think if the reviews were good, I'd be interested in checking out. I mean, I went to a Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots musical in San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess I would have to give this one a shot since I gave the Flaming Lips a shot for a musical.
Right, but there's a lot of theatricality there, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, if you got like, I don't know, if like the people who put Hedwig together, put Empire Records together, I'd probably go see it.
Yeah, I'd be scared that like the queue to get in would look a little bit like the Rex Manning queue.
No, it would just look like a bunch of 90s throwbacks like us.
That's what I meant, Anna.
It'll be flannelled up.
It would just be a line full of people in turtlenecks like Lucas.
Yeah, true. But oh my God, so Rex Manning, like he's like the old guy, right? But he's significantly younger than us.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's like,
tell me that.
he was supposed to be in his 30s. Yeah, so we are now older than Rex Manning.
That is a horrible thought.
I thought he was supposed to be much older. Like, I kind of felt like he was based off like David Cassidy or somebody like that.
Yeah, it looks like him. No, but I'm pretty sure Maxwell Caulfield was like mid 30s.
Yeah, he was born in 1959. So I think he was 35 when the movie came out.
There you go.
They put
chicken.
They put quite a lot of face makeup on him, and he had those weird white lips, didn't he?
Yeah, he was orange.
That was weird.
Yes. He's
Like he'd
got
just been skiing or something.
yeah, like pastel lip gloss. Yeah.
Oh, another one that didn't make it on the soundtrack that I really loved was the Throwing Muses tracks, Snake Face. I thought it was so good that I bought their album to hear it because it wasn't on the soundtrack, and it turns out that that's really the only track I like, which I'm devastated.
What's going on in the film when that's on? I don't remember now.
I think it was the Liv Tyler bit with her and Rex Manning.
Oh, after
When she's
Edwyn Collins
preparing
then.
the stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm giving Rex his
Yeah,
lunch,
that makes
maybe.
sense. Yeah.
I was watching the film a couple weeks ago with my wife, and she didn't know that Guar was a real band.
Yeah, you'd be, it's fair enough that she was not aware of that. They look pretty crazy.
If they're not your cup of tea, then
It's amazing that they did exist, actually, in hindsight.
And that they agreed to be in this movie.
Well, yeah, I guess they heard a movie and thought, why not? But the only reason I know that they were a band is because they were on Jerry Springer once, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Why were they on Jerry Springer?
I love metal bands and Get Over It Family or whatever.
Oh
I
my
don't
God,
know.
that's so weird. Speaking of musicals, though, the Jerry Springer musical,
Yeah.
excellent musical.
It's all coming together.
So good.
Everything connects. Just like,
Oh, Spider-Gram for this, Ryan.
we love to make everything connect and make a big spidergram of it. It's our...
I forgot the Jerry Springer musical actually existed until you just mentioned it.
Oh, it's great.
You went to see it?
Yeah.
Oh, my days.
Yeah, I saw it at Leicester Square. Wow.
Yeah, screw watching Hamilton again. I got to watch the Jerry Springer musical.
So, Free by the Martinis. Did you know how they came about?
I know that I know Joey Santiago and Dave Lovering from the Pixies are in that band. I never knew they existed until this movie.
Exactly. Yeah. They're unsigned, and then they were on Cooking Vinyl. There's another Cooking Vinyl link as well. Or is it someone else on the soundtrack was Cooking Vinyl? I haven't got to that bit yet. But yeah, that's a nice little ditty. Enjoyed that one. As Deborah shaves her head. And apparently they came about because they were recommended by the Hits magazine president, Karen Glauber? I don't know, but she was the musical consultant for the film.
As far as soundtracks go, there's a lot of outside input on this soundtrack. They have musical consultants, they have Liv Tyler's stepdad, and then and then there was that whole commotion about we got to get the Gin Blossoms on the soundtrack. Like it seems like there's a lot more going on with the soundtrack than the normal movie soundtrack.
Yeah, maybe more attention was paid to the soundtrack than perhaps some of the story. I think as well, you can't really blame whoever wrote it, because it gets written and then they move stuff around and they take bits out, like they film it, but then it doesn't make it to the final cut, and some bits are left in and you kind of don't know why they're there necessarily. Or
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with it was supposed to originally be set over 2 days, apparently. And then they decided
sounds
to
right.
make it just
Yeah.
over 1 day. It's like, because they wear the same clothes the whole time. So I don't know which, how, I don't know.
because
The
it was
editing
until midnight.
must have been quite enjoyable. Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't see that movie working as a 2-day thing.
Yeah, it would have been completely different, wouldn't it?
Like, I don't think there's that urgency to get $9,000.
No.
Like, I think it's a lot easier if you had like 2 days to scrounge up $9,000 than 24 hours.
Yeah, Joe would have definitely killed them all by then.
I mean, that's a lot of stuff to happen in 24 hours, isn't it?
It is.
Lose all the money, shoplifter.
Oh, I love the shoplifter. Warren.
Warren. But you never
Fantastic.
find out his real name, do you?
No.
No, he says it's Warren Beatty, right?
Warren Beatty.
Yeah. That kid is so perfect. He always plays like a little shit.
Yeah.
Yep. I was actually about to say little shit as well. Like, that is the perfect description of him.
He's literally made a career of it.
But man, in 1995 to show up in a record store with a gun, kind of jarring.
Yeah, and he gets his musical taste slammed as well for rap, metal, rap. Whitney Houston.
Wasn't it for his mom?
Yeah. Yeah, sure it is. Oh, we've watched this movie too many times.
Yeah, I noticed that the movie's a little snarky about his musical taste, and then it gets pretty homophobic about Rex Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of controversial lines. Yeah.
There is, but I have to say, I love Warren's laugh in it. His hysterical kind of busting out laughing always cracks me up as well.
Yeah, my husband laughs a bit like that.
That's so mean.
Maniacal.
I love watching him rock out to that AC/DC song.
Yeah. Is he doing the devil hands, or am I misremembering?
Yeah, he's doing like the devil rock on thing,
Yeah, you see?
and he's
He isn't
dancing by
just rap.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I Don't Want to Live Today by the Ape Hangers. I really like that song, but I couldn't find out anything about the band. Do you know anything about them? I did find out that the Ape Hangers means it's those funny handlebars on bikes. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh,
So
really?
I found that interesting in itself.
I thought it would be something sexual.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Ryan,
The pigeons come out of the box.
the pigeon has woken up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, nobody panic. Okay, we can see him. He's come out of the box. We rescued a pigeon off the street. I think he'd been mauled by a cat a couple of hours ago, and he was just resting in a box, but
He's quite calm.
he's woken up now. He looks a bit concerned, and I'm a bit concerned.
He can't fly,
You can
can
catch-
he? He can't fly. That's
He
why we
couldn't.
rescued him.
Yes, well, he couldn't before, but
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I know. To use a movie line, I'm getting
My instinct
slightly
is to
alarmed here.
take a photo for Ryan.
Oh my God. Oh,
Your husband's going to kill us.
he will if it starts flying around our dining room.
Should we just stay calm?
I don't know. Should we try and get the lid back on the box? You feeling brave?
So what was the end game for rescuing the pigeon? Like, were you going to take him to a shelter?
No, there's a wildlife rescue guy in the area, and we were trying to get hold of him on the phone, but obviously it's getting late here, and so we figured, we keep it safe from the foxes and whatnot overnight because it couldn't fly. So we put it in a shoebox with some tea towels and stuff to keep it warm. But he's looking very alert right now, and Hannah's creeping slowly towards him to try and get the lid back on. I don't think it's going to happen. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Hannah's very brave. This pigeon is super duper awake right now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. She's just balanced the lid on top. I think we're going to be okay. Okay, let's quickly resume, Hannah. Did you take a picture?
Yeah, it came out a bit grainy because I didn't want to put the flash on and stuff.
Okay. Well, we'll send you a picture, Ryan.
But you've never had that happen in a podcast day, Ryan.
I would love to see that.
Thinking, what is wrong with these two? Taking pigeons off the street. Honestly, I don't know what we were thinking.
Yes,
really.
we do know that they're vermin.
Was this pre or post gin?
It was pre. It was pre-recording our Red Hot Chili Peppers episode. Hence, we named him Chadwick.
Yeah, we called him Chadwick.
Chadwick Flea. Hopefully, he's not got fleas.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Sorry.
Yeah, let's just jump back in just in case Chadwick does take to the sky.
Let's do it. Where were we?
So the Ape Hangers.
Yeah. Yeah, Hannah likes that one.
I think it's kind of similar to Ready, Steady, Go, the Mises, which I also really liked and also couldn't really find anything out about.
No.
But it's when Lucas is chasing Warren,
Yeah,
the thief.
which is an epic chase scene.
But I think that's a great song.
It's great.
Really catchy.
It's great. I really like the track at the end. That this is the day.
Oh, that's not on the soundtrack, is it?
No, I think it's the last. Is it the credit song or just the very last song? Must be the credits.
Yeah, is it after they're talking about Primus? I don't know, I can't remember.
But that was a weird one. I only knew who they were because they had released an album and it had a great track which I loved called Dogs of Lust. So I bought the single. But then it turns out that it's just kind of this one guy and he just has people that become his band and, since the 80s.
Like Billy Corgan.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, really.
Yeah, there was less drama.
Yeah, I don't really remember I do remember having a Bargain Bucket single on cassette that has like a black cover and with the white text, but I don't remember what the song was.
Yeah, his lineup has previously included Johnny Marr, so that also fits in with our never-ending Spider-Man because Johnny Marr.
Yeah, but doesn't Johnny Marr play for everyone at some point?
Yes, yeah, and he's absolutely gold dust when it comes to doing spidergrams and trying to link every kind of music of the 90s together, as is basically our goal on our podcast. So he's a diamond for that.
Yeah, he's on the new Avalanches album.
Is he? I just saw that
it's just
that came
hasn't
out.
it?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't gotten through the whole thing, but he's on a track with MGMT.
Oh, fantastic. I love Avalanches.
Yeah, you're going to be able to connect so much more now that he's connected to the Avalanches.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because they sample like everybody.
So I'm really distracted by Chadwick over there. I can hear him scratching.
No, he's poked his head out the side now. I can see his beak.
Anyway, so the other cooking vinyl band is Cracker. So they've got a whole lot of trouble, haven't they?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
they're the band in Clueless soundtrack. Is that
Are
right?
they on it as well? Yeah, they may well be. Yeah, they were around for quite a bit. They had, Low was their big one, wasn't it? And Kerosene, I think.
Ryan, I know you did Clueless soundtrack too, didn't you?
Cracker is on the Clueless soundtrack, which is weird because I kind of feel like they're an older band. Like I don't think they're really marketed for like the teen crowd.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, kind of like the. It's a bit of a weird one stuck in there. So maybe it was just somebody's favorite,
Yeah.
Somebody in the
they've
higher
been going
ups.
that long though. I think they formed in 1990. They're not they haven't been going for years and years.
Yeah, but they were from a different band called Camper Van Beethoven.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is one of the best names for
Yeah.
a band. I love it.
Yeah. Much better than Toad the Wet Sprocket.
So I think they're kind of like Semisonic, where they came from another band. So even though they were a new band, they were like in their 30s already.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, didn't one of the guys join Counting Crows as well at some point?
Oh, really?
Or he's in it now.
Don't know.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
no idea about that. Another band on the Clueless soundtrack, Counting Crows.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Great band.
some gorgeous crossover
Yeah.
again.
Right, what else have we got? Oh, Better Than Ezra.
This pigeon is staring at
Is
us.
it really?
Yes.
I can't see it.
I can. You didn't realize you were going to have a guest starring Street Pigeon.
Hey, I'm willing to roll with it.
Or a flying rat, as they're known.
Could have been worse. We're on the coast. It could have been a seagull, and Brighton seagulls. Oh, they're big.
I mean, I've seen Mary Poppins, so I feel like this is normal.
There's no chance you'd have gotten near a seagull. They are huge. They're the
Yeah.
size of a small dog.
Even baby ones. Yeah.
Especially here,
and
they're
quite vicious.
mutant, aren't they?
So better than Ezra.
Yeah, so that's Circle of Friends. Oh yeah, an interesting thing about where their name came from. So the band are very cagey about where they got their name. So there are a couple of theories. One is that it comes from Hemingway's memoir, A Memorable Feast, where he talks about something a noise being no worse than other noises, certainly better than Ezra learning to play the bassoon. And then there's another theory that they were in a Battle of the Bands thing, and one of their competitors was a band called Ezra, so they just signed up as Better Than Ezra.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Wow. I didn't know they were so petty.
I think
Might
it's
not
quite
be. They
funny.
might be the literate type. I only know that their fans are called Ezra, which is great.
Wow. So I like Better Than Ezra. Not a huge fan, but I think their album Deluxe and the album after that were pretty good. They had a couple good albums, had a good run, but I didn't know that they had such a devoted fan base that they would be called Ezra-lites.
Yeah, I think that's quite impressive. It's like what are Lady Gaga's fans called?
I don't know.
It's like, yeah,
I think they're
Sounds like a joke.
aren't they the Monsters or something like that? I think they're her
Monsters.
Monsters.
yeah, that's it, Little
Yeah.
Monsters, yeah.
I did hear that.
And then Taylor Swift
well-
has Swifties.
Sorry, what was that, Ryan?
Taylor Swift has her fans called Swifties.
Yeah, I think it's a very post-90s thing, isn't it, to name your fans? So Better Than Ezra are a bit ahead of their time, I think.
Pearl Jam has the Jamley.
Oh, the Jamley, that's true.
Yeah, but at least Pearl Jam is like a globally huge band.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, fair.
But even if you take like a local band from anywhere, if they've been gigging for a fair while, they'll have a following.
Well, they've named it, though.
I mean, if they get to know each other, yes, definitely.
I guess
People
with
stay
the
and have a
internet,
Yeah,
that happens
probably-
more often. But no one's confusing Better Than Ezra for like the Grateful Dead or anything like that.
No, I think I seem to remember that they were quite a hard band to get albums for in the early 90s. Like I'd have to go into the city to the big kind of Virgin megastore to get imports, and they were always like 3 times the price as well. So you had to really want it. But of course, you never heard it before.
When you say city, do you mean Brighton?
Yeah,
Or
Brighton.
London. Okay.
That was a long way back when you're 13.
Yeah, no, I know.
And you don't have any money.
Yeah. I mean, the Tower Records, it was like the highlight of half term was going to London for the day, and then getting to
Oh,
Tower Records would be the holy
gotta
grail.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay triple the price for Better Than Ezra.
Yeah, they're always disgustingly expensive,
Yeah.
which explains why we bought so many singles back in the day, I think. Because all our favorite bands, well, back in the early 90s, were probably American.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I remember paying an arm and a leg for holes pretty on the inside.
Tough times.
Yeah,
Tough times
worth
for
it, though.
the girls who
Worth
work in tea rooms, such as ourselves.
it. Yeah. But now I can't. I just think of my daughter when I think of Better Than Ezra now, because she's 3 and she's got her first boyfriend from nursery, and he's called Ezra. So I
Oh,
hear
right, I
a lot
was
about
gonna say-
Ezra at the moment.
And Circle of Friends brought this up today.
Oh no. Oh dear. Anyway, I had a little bit on quotes. I think there's some really nice quotes that are taken from songs in the movie.
Okay.
So I've got, so Have a Nice Days. We already talked about Dazed and Confused, didn't we? But I've got, Rory Cochrane down and saying that. Why don't you all just fade away?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Rex's line. So nod to the Who there, My Generation. Oh God, another Lucas in close to the beginning where he he says so deadpan. I think he's looking at the camera, isn't he? The time to hesitate is through.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, and then some of the characters' own one-liners are brilliant. The what's it doing in Atlantic City in reference to the money recirculating.
Yeah.
Have you got a favorite line, Ryan, from the movie?
I think that was probably my favorite line. His whole trying to explain where the money was without giving away that I just gambled it away in a game of craps. After I already doubled the money, then I just doubled down and lost all the money. Like just the way that he kind of tiptoes around exactly what he did. That whole conversation is pretty great.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, have you got he's the screw up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're all losers or something.
And then banana heads, do they figure in there somewhere? Or is that somewhere else?
Yeah.
There's banana
that's a
heads
joke line.
as an insult
Yeah.
somewhere, which is brilliant. But I love Gina's Sinead Rebellion, shock me with your deviant
Yeah,
behavior as well. And then AJ's, I don't feel that I need to explain my art to you, Warren, as he's like gluing coins to the floor.
I think I put that on Instagram.
Yes, and didn't Johnny Whitworth
He did.
like it? First famous like.
Oh, I have one last thing to
Amazing.
say about the movie. It's got nothing to do with the soundtrack, though. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You know, at the beginning where Ethan Embry goes outside, or he's setting up, and he goes outside around the back, and then there's a mural on the wall, and he kind of kisses it.
Yes.
I always thought it was Madonna.
I thought it was Madonna.
It's
Apparently
not.
It's Gloria Estefan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found that quite shocking.
Yeah, because she's got the crucifix and the hair and everything.
Totally
Yeah, it's
like
really
Madonna.
weird.
It's vaguely music related, maybe not the soundtrack.
But
But
thanks for mentioning Madonna, Lily. I know how much.
I mean, it's a
you love-
movie full of weird musical references.
yes, yeah, there's Buggles in there, isn't there, as well? It's not on the actual soundtrack, but yeah, that's a.
Oh, and also like the Alice in Chains feature, not in the movie or the soundtrack, but there's that massive poster that keeps that's like in shot a lot in the film, and then when they do the sale at the end, it's auctioned off or it's sold off. Remember, it's like the massive facelift poster, cardboard cutout. And I remember going into my local record shop, Capitol Records in Marlow, and also Our Price, the chain shop in the next town, Maidenhead. And they'd have like the big display posters and stuff in the window. And if you went in and asked them to put your name and number on the back of it, they'd let you have them once they were done with them. So I had like a den in our loft, in our attic, and it was full of like old posters from Our Price and Capitol Records. Alice in Chains wasn't one of them, but REM and The Simpsons.
Did you?
Yeah, brilliant free posters, and they were like massive, like floor to ceiling ones.
Wow.
I see in the credits that there's a Daniel Johnston song in the movie. I don't know where that's in.
I saw
Or-
that too.
I don't know where that song shows up.
No, I don't. We've only ever talked about him on our podcast because he featured on the soundtrack to Kids.
Yeah, I was listening to an extended Empire Records playlist this morning, and he was on it. But again, I don't know what point in the movie that is.
Oh, the pigeon's moving again. I'm getting major anxiety.
Well, if you need to connect indie people and you're missing a link, Daniel Johnston's pretty good for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. If we can only discover where he is in the movie. I feel like it would stick out, you know?
Oh, I know how you can find out. I haven't listened to it all yet, but there is a podcast that goes through this movie minute by minute. But I discovered it recently, and there's a lot of episodes, obviously, because I don't know how many minutes there are of this movie, but they spend about 20 minutes, half an hour talking about each minute.
Wow, that's
How you find out. It's good. It's
a
a couple
hell
of
of an idea for a podcast.
It's an Australian guy who's in a band and a New Zealand DJ, radio DJ. You carry on and I'll find it. But yeah, it's called Empire Records Minute.
Wow.
Sarah Gandy and Chris Mack.
So it's an Aussie one, did you say?
It's a Kiwi one, actually.
Oh,
I guess we should have listened to that before we talked about the movie.
Yeah, I only discovered it last week, so I'm up to about minute 32 or something, I think. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I listened to it.
So Coyote Shivers hasn't even shown up yet.
No, not yet.
Just one last random note I found is Debbie Mazar, who plays, I think her name is Jane. Like she's
Yeah, Rex's manager.
she was married to Paul Rubens for like 6 years in the 90s.
Oh,
who's that?
Pee Wee Herman.
Oh my gosh, yes. That is terrifying.
my boys love Pee Wee Herman.
Wow.
It's so weird.
Oh, I did not know that. I always relate her to Goodfellas. You know, she's the girlfriend in that
she's one of
with
the
all the coke.
yeah.
She was in Singles too.
Yes, we've talked about this, haven't we? She's the one in the, I can't remember the name of her character, but she wears
You
that
told me this.
amazing green jacket with the shoulder pads. Yeah, I can't remember her character in Singles, but yeah.
Yeah, she's great in this actually.
Yeah.
The long-suffering Rex manager.
And then she just
she
quits.
doesn't
That's
have
nothing.
much. She doesn't have much of a role, but she's really like you really feel for her in the few minutes she's there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I used to work in magazines, and we had to talk to the press people with the star in inverted commas next to them, and just watching them try to manage the nonsense coming out of the quote unquote star's mouth was just agonizing. You just felt so bad for them, like, oh, you have to do this day in and day out. It's the worst.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And then they make Rex Manning pretty insufferable.
Yeah, he is. But sadly, probably not that far off the mark, is it?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting things about this movie is I feel like it's a lot more accurate about the music industry than people wanted to believe in 1995.
Yeah. Right. Definitely.
Like clearly that's not the first record store where he's had sex with an employee.
No. No.
So thank you, Lily and Hannah, for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. It's been so much fun.
You guys can check out Society Owes Me a Gen X podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I'm sure many more podcast platforms.
Yeah, there's a few others knocking around in there.
They're going through the alphabet A through X.
That's right, X for Gen X.
And they've got a holiday episode that you can also check out. You should check that out. I enjoy their podcast. I feel like our podcasts go really well hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love tuning into yours anyway, Ryan. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you again for coming on. I hope that the pigeon doesn't wreck your house.
Yeah, it seems to have settled down again. I don't know what's going to happen, but thank you very much.
We'll keep you posted.
All right. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on Soundtrack Your Life. Make sure to visit our website, soundtrackyourlife.net, where you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too.